Okay, so this is the last module of knowledge management in the last week, and in this module basically we are going to discuss KM implementation in Indian organizations, and we will also take up some cases. We will see that how different kind of organizations have implemented KM in their organizations. It may include manufacturing organizations, software industries, okay, public sector organizations, and even many private sector organizations. We will go through some of the surveys and reports to examine that how KM has been implemented in Indian organizations, what are the impacts. Similarly, in the next part we will also talk about some of the cases and see that how they have been able to implement KM in their organizations. And finally, we will talk about the future of knowledge management. We will see the new developments that has come up in the field of knowledge management. So, we are basically starting with KM processes in Indian organizations. So, why Indian organizations have implemented or initiated to have a knowledge management system in their organizations. If you look at the Indian organizations after the process of liberalization in 1990, what happened? And the forces of globalization came here, and that affected everything. So, most of the organizations embraced it, and they went for restructuring, delayering, right sizing, okay, and also took certain strategic decisions in order to remain competitive. So, it had become very difficult in the beginning for organizations to cope up with the competitive pressure. Okay. So, in order to see that how KM can be useful to cope with the challenges of the competitive forces, many Indian organizations have tried to use it, implemented it, initiated it, with the objective that this knowledge management system is going to help them to improve quality, reduced cost, improve their efficiency, delivery, okay, and they are going to have a very flexible system, so that if there is any change that is going to happen in the external environment, okay, they would be able to cope up with this. Similarly, you will find that KM has also been linked with innovation process, because if you look at knowledge management systems, basically it helps in new knowledge creation. Okay. So, we will also try to see that how KM has linked with innovation, and that is precisely the reason because of which many Indian organizations, public sector, private sector, manufacturing sector, services sectors, IT industries, okay, have embraced knowledge management system in their organizations. Okay. So, what we are going to discuss some of the studies and surveys which have been conducted in the field of knowledge management to see that how they have adopted, implemented, and benefited from the knowledge management system. Now, to start with, we will talk about how KM has been implemented in Indian manufacturing organizations. Manufacturing organizations are basically in the core sector, okay, and there are a lot of studies which have been conducted in core sector to find that whether knowledge management is going to be useful in this particular sector or not. With this objective, many manufacturing organizations, good manufacturing organizations you can say, have implemented knowledge management system, and they had lot of objectives behind implementing knowledge management systems. As I told you, the forces of globalizations, okay, created a situation where they had to compete not nationally, but internationally also in terms of quality, cost, and all kind of things, and that is why to ensure competitive advantage, so that they are going to remain ahead. So far as competition is concerned, many Indian manufacturing organizations thought of having and developing a knowledge management system in their organizations. Similarly, they also wanted to see that whether the new knowledge that is being created by the organization or not. Okay. And in the process, they try to see that if they are going to have a knowledge management system in their organization, will it help to create new knowledge or not. So, they also wanted to test whether it is going to create new knowledge which is going to be useful for the organization. Most of these manufacturing organizations have been working since long. So, they have lot of databases, okay. They have lot of systems and well established processes. So, they wanted to see that whether using them and transforming the tacit knowledge of the people into explicit form, whether it is possible for employees to use these knowledge management system to come out with new products, new technologies, and how they are going to manage different kind of resources in a more effective manner. So, what they did basically, most of these manufacturing organizations try to plan, organize lot of operations with the help of knowledge management systems. They started planning their activities, they organized their activities. They also introduced knowledge management systems in the shop floor, and definitely R&D was one of the major areas where they try to be more creative, innovative, so that R&D units come out with new products, new processes, new systems in place to make them competitive. And that is why you will find that R&D systems of the manufacturing organizations were more instrumental in implementing knowledge management system in the organization. Now, when you are talking about Indian manufacturing organizations, basically it include all kind of sector. It could be iron sector, steel sector, coal sector, and other manufacturing organizations in different areas. Now, when we are looking at different kind of reports and surveys which were conducted to examine that how well KM has implemented in Indian organizations, and there has been a lot of data which shows that yes, many Indian manufacturing organizations have been benefited from the knowledge management system in their organizations. So, it helped them to have the appropriate technology which was going to be very useful. So, they used KM system to ensure the right kind of technology, because many of these manufacturing systems were not able to compete with the kind of technologies they had. So, they also made improvements in the technology. They also examined the kind of technology they had, and then they tried to ensure that they have a technology with the help of which they are going to produce goods and services which is going to be very competitive in the nature. And at the same time, they are tried to identify best practices which include communities of practices, communities of systems, and these communities of practices were very important for them, because they tried to identify these practices which were developed through basis of collaboration of the people, through knowledge sharing and collaborative effort, which had come out in the organizations, which were very instrumental for them to ensure that they are able to use these best practices in the interest of the organization to increase productivity, quality, reduce cost, and also see that organizations become more and more efficient. Similarly, they try to see that when they are going to develop a knowledge management system in the organization, and so the different parts of the organizations which might have been working in not in a very integrated manner, because the knowledge that is created and developed in one department was not being used or even not communicated to other departments. So, these kind of knowledge management system basically try to unite various departments in the process. So, whether it is between marketing and manufacturing, or it is between manufacturing and R&D. So, they try to integrate their activities in such a way so that they could reap the benefits of knowledge management system, and that was one of the major objectives of implementing knowledge management systems in Indian organizations, with the idea that whatever is being done through R&D goes through the manufacturing systems in the production operations. So, they are able to come out with products and services which are more efficient, have good features, and then their activity was also integrated with marketing part, so that it could be marketed well. Most of the most of the manufacturing systems were not using IT extensively, but when the demand came, they started using IT in order to develop these systems, because you know that when you are going to use an IT system in an organization, the basic objective of using IT tools is to enable to have a KM architecture, not only for creating interface with the knowledge management system by the users, but also to ensure that the kind of software and hardware that is going to be configured in such a way, so that you are going to create a very robust KM system which could be used by the people. Okay. And it was also used to see that how we are going to capture the tacit knowledge of the experts and transform them into explicit form, and then this captured knowledge is to be archived in the system. So, when you are going to develop a knowledge management system, IT is one of the enablers which helps you to create repositories and also ensure that you are able to retrieve the required information for use, and that is where IT tools have been very useful and effective, and that is why many Indian organizations have used IT tools to their benefit to reduce cost, to streamline the processes, and there were other benefits also, like reducing the head count also, because if you are going to use IT systems for performing jobs, so you do things more accurately with speed, and that is where the process of error is not going to be there, and you want to see that how this is going to be useful. Similarly, when you are going to use knowledge management system to develop employees. So, what happened that most of these manufacturing systems which had knowledge management systems were used by employees to understand various processes and systems which were archived in explicit form or documented in explicit form. So, they also got benefited, they tried to learn and develop themselves, and that is how they develop those competencies which were required to become more creative and innovative in the system, to see that how organization is going to be more productive, efficient. And similarly, you also wanted to see that when you are going to organize your activities, but depending on the capabilities that people have developed, you want to plan your manpower activities to ensure that people who are working in different positions are capable of doing those things, and that is one of the objectives which was made by KM systems when it was implemented in manufacturing organizations. We already talked about knowledge maps when you are going to see that what is the existing knowledge of the organization, and and what is the required knowledge, and based on that they also try to create knowledge map not only for the units and the departments, but for the entire organizations, through which they were able to identify the gaps in the knowledge, and then they also try to see that what needs to be done in order to ensure that these knowledge maps are the gaps in the knowledge management is bridged, and that was very important. Similarly, they also try to see that it is going to help them to improve the quality, productivity and efficiency, all kind of things, so that it is not going to create any kind of problem. Okay. So, these the survey that was done by a number of people, which was published in Knowledge Management Journal, shows that how various manufacturing organizations have been benefited by the knowledge management system in the organization. Now, we will take another survey to see that how knowledge management system has evolved in different kind of organizations. In India, we have both public sector organizations and private sector organizations. Public sector organizations are those organizations where the majority of the stakes are held by the government, maybe central government or the state government, and private sector is where the people are the owners. Okay. It could be a number of people or one people, who owns the organization. Now, the result shows that most of the public sector organizations in India have implemented, but they have not yet gone full fledged to implement knowledge management system in the organizations. Many of them have started it. Some of the R&D intensive organizations like Defense Research and Development Laboratories, ONDC, some electronics companies, or some pharmaceutical companies have tried to implement knowledge management system in a big way, but otherwise most of the public sector organizations are still in the early stages, and they are yet to develop a good and effective knowledge management system in their organizations. If you look at the private sector organizations, you will find that most of the private sector organizations, whether it is service organizations or whether it is IT systems, have been able to implement good knowledge management systems and got good benefits out of it. Now, a study was done to compare both the public sector and private sector organizations and see that to what extent public sector has done better compared to private sector, the results of these studies and surveys suggest that private sector has done much better so far as KM is concerned. Okay. Now, when it comes to developing a mechanism for knowledge management systems or involving stakeholders, whether it is employees, customers, vendors, supplier, in developing knowledge management systems, because they got a lot of ideas from these stakeholders to ensure the kind of KM system that they want to develop. Similarly, they also try to identify best practices, communities of practices, you can say, through which they could transfer knowledge which was more tacit in the organizations into a more explicit form, and they also recognize the importance of tacit knowledge. So, you can say that yes, private sector has done much better compared to public sector so far as implementing KM systems, looking for ideas from the stakeholders and use of best practices. Similarly, they also identified benchmarking. See, we have talked about benchmarking, the standardization process through which you go and try to compare yourself with the set targets or standards which has been set up through the benchmarking process. Now, private sector had their own benchmarks, okay, to see that how they can improve their opportunities. Okay. What they also try to see what is the knowledge gaps among the employees. So, they conducted competency mapping exercises, and these competency mapping exercises using 360-degree feedback help them to identify the gap in the knowledge and skill base of the people. And they also went for certain interventions through training and development, coaching and mentoring to ensure that how the gap in the knowledge and skill base could be fulfilled using these systems. So, they try to identify the gap through competency mapping to start with, and then they also try to use certain training and development interventions to fill this gap. Similarly, they also try to create repositories which have been regularly being used by the employees in the private sector. Let us look at some other indicators what actually happens. So, what private sector has been doing, they try to encourage more job rotation, they were meant for mentoring, okay, to see that how people are going to share their tacit knowledge and how it could be transformed into explicit form. So, private sector went for these kind of things, so that people can learn different activities in different jobs through job rotation. They also created mentorship, so that they can learn from the seniors, especially the tacit knowledge which is available with the seniors, which could go through the juniors, okay, and then how they are going to transform it into explicit form. Another idea was that how they can see that the private sector people, since they are going to work in an uncertain environment, so how they are going to cope up with the challenges of environment which is very, very uncertain. Okay. And they also created a kind of tolerance and uncertainty and ambiguity basically in the system, so that employees are encouraged to be innovative and creative and also experiment with. So, they also try to ensure that people start taking a risk, do experiment with new ideas, and if successful, it is going to help the organization. But most of the public sector organizations, since they were bound by rigid hierarchies, okay, they did not go for these kind of things, though they have good systems and processes in place, but they did not experiment with new things, and that is where they were not able to be that successful compared to the private sector organizations. Similarly, when it comes to evaluating the knowledge part, private sector is much ahead compared to the public sector organizations. They develop both kind of metrics, which are financial and non-financial metrics, and they try to examine that whether they are reaping good benefits out of the knowledge management system or not. So, when they are trying to invest in knowledge management activities, they also ensured that they get good return of these investments. Now, what we have looked at that how private sector has fared better compared to public sector organizations. Now, we will see that how public sector has done, what are the strong points for the public sector organizations. Public sector organizations also encourages more formal discussion, they have started it now, and they try to see that in a systematic way how people go and share knowledge with each other. So, that was a good thing for them. Similarly, they also try to adopt strategies for knowledge management system and see that how they can at least go for sharing knowledge, so that they can create explicit form of knowledge either in the form of documents or other systems, right. Now, if you look at it in totality, you can see that yes, both public and private sector organizations they do need to improve on a lot of accounts. Basically, some public sector also need to improve themselves on certain behavioral accounts. Similarly, private sector had to improve on technical accounts. So, there are certain dimensions of the KM which basically are enabling or supporting forces need to be examined in both public sector as well as private sector organizations, like what are the processes for knowledge capturing, sharing, what kind of leadership support is available, whether you have created a culture to facilitate knowledge sharing or not, what kind of technology is being used, and how we are going to measure the impact of KM systems on using various metrics related to quality, cost, efficiency, and these kind of things. And that is why if you look at public sector, they have to work more compared to private sector, but similarly even in private sector also there are issues related to leadership, culture, and these kind of things which need to be looked into. After discussion of knowledge management systems in the Indian public and private sector organizations, we can also see that what actually happens and what needs to be done, and that is why some suggestions have been forwarded in this regard, that yes, the KM system should be a part of the organization. It should be, there should be a strategy for knowledge management system in the organization. It should be aligned with the corporate strategy. So far as policy is concerned, most of the organizations should now think of having and developing a knowledge management system in their organizations because of its usefulness. Similarly, another important issue is the support from the top management, because if leadership support is not available, probably the commitment and the resources that is required to have a good system will not be there. Similarly, you also need sustained support to ensure that yes, the resources are made available for implementing knowledge management system and it is being implemented effectively in the organization, and that is where the support and commitment of top management is very, very important. Another important issue is making people aware about the knowledge management system. It has been found that in most of the public and private organizations, people do not know even that the organization has a knowledge management system or wing in the organizations. Even knowledge management system in many organizations has not been able to reach out to all the employees. Okay. Similarly, they have not been able to integrate their activities with other departments, whether it is HR department, whether it is training department, and or other departments in the organization. So, it is very, very important to communicate with all the stakeholders to make them aware about the having a knowledge management system, and also communicate why it is important, what kind of benefits we can have, and then get convinced and commitment from the top management to ensure that how a knowledge management system is going to be useful for the organizations. And then people should also be told that if these processes are documented and it is available, so even people are leaving the organizations, you can make use of them to work effectively. Okay. So, these are some of the suggestions that can be useful for the various organizations which are working in the field of knowledge management in the country. Now, we will take some of the issues and concerns which are related to knowledge management practices in Indian organizations. Another important issue is that has come up, that why should I participate in knowledge creation, knowledge capture, or knowledge development activities. Okay. So, you need to see that the people who are going to be involved in knowledge sharing activities, okay, they are somehow incentivized. It means you also need to link knowledge sharing with reward. Okay. So, you can make a difference by stating that those people who are going to share their knowledge with others would help them to see that tacit knowledge is being implemented, must be rewarded suitably. Otherwise, the motivation for sharing does not come out. Similarly, you also need to see that there is a tendency in many people to hoard knowledge. Okay. So, it is very very important to ensure that people do not hoard knowledge, but willingly share their knowledge with each other. Okay. So, you also need to create an environment in the organizations which is actually lacking in most of the Indian organizations, that withholding information or knowledge. So, if you are going to have a good knowledge management system and you have created a better user face through which knowledge is accessed by all, so you are creating a situation where people find it easy to use and access and use knowledge which could benefit them to work them effectively. So, it is very important not to create a situation of hoarding knowledge. So, that knowledge is very very centralized, it is available with few people only and people are not have access to it. So, both are important. Make sure that it is being linked with the reward. Similarly, also need to discourage knowledge hoarding in the organization. Similarly, you can also make it a part of the performance appraisal system. So, in performance appraisal, basically what we look at it, that how well the people has performed their job. Okay. But you can also use knowledge sharing, collaboration, creation of new knowledge as a criteria, an additional criteria you can say in the performance appraisal system. And if you find that people are participating in these processes, then let it be a part of the performance appraisal system. Let them be evaluated on these criteria as well when their performance is being evaluated, right. Similarly, you also need to create a culture, a more entrepreneurial culture or a market oriented culture. So, you need to create an organic culture in the system, so that people are ready to share their knowledge. Okay. Because culture is very very important. If you do not create a knowledge sharing culture, then what will happen? People will hoard knowledge, people will not communicate with each other, the knowledge will remain tacit in the minds of the people, it will never be transformed into explicit form, right. Another important issue is whether people are mature enough to understand the use and benefits of the knowledge management system, and that is where you need to communicate the employees about the benefits. So, make them sure that yes, these are the things that you can do using knowledge management system for your work. Now, you also need to train them. So, you can also organize seminars, workshops, training activities to ensure that people are made aware and communicated about the knowledge management system. So, if you look at the knowledge management system in Indian organizations, you will find lot of issues, whether it is related to knowledge sharing or culture or hoarding of information or not being a part of the performance appraisal, or organizations do not have a culture of sharing, okay, or people do not understand the benefits of the knowledge management system. These are creating big problems, which is a major concern for most of the Indian organizations, whether it is a manufacturing system, whether it is a public system, or whether it is a private organization. So, what we need to look at it, that yes, most of the problems and concerns must be addressed by these organizations when they are going to develop a good knowledge management system. Similarly, you also need to see that how knowledge management system in IT companies has developed. Okay. See, IT companies are more technology incentive systems, they are using computer aided technologies, computer aided designs, okay, and a lot of softwares you can say, okay. And they also use local area networks very extensively for information sharing, and also they have centralized catalog of reports, okay. And with this they are basically able to document the knowledge, and that is what happens, that if you are able to share the information, okay, so it is digitally documented and it is available with the archive of the organization, which can be used by anybody in the organization, provided you have a KM system. Okay. And most of the IT companies have gone for document management, okay, where they are going to record all the processes related to the work or any project that they are going to do, and this is used as a learning tool for other projects. So, suppose you have gone a group of people have gone through a project. So, you are going to record all the processes through which the project has been completed in a documented form, and once it is recorded in documented form, it is kept in the repositories, knowledge repositories, and then it could be used by the people in the organization. So, most of the IT companies, it has been found that yes, they have been able to capture, validate and distribute knowledge much better than any other organizations. Okay, and that has helped them to basically create a strategic direction for the organization, and also these organizations have gone for better resource allocation to ensure that yes, they are able to cope up with the challenges in a environment which is very chaotic and uncertain. Thank you very much.